On this episode, we speak with Lydia Andrews, holistic health coach of well, body, and mind. Gain insight on the superpower of food, healing, and our overall quality of life. We must recognize our bodies are made up of the same vitamins and nutrients found in the sun, plant life, and earth itself. Access inspiration on how to better yourself, mind, body, and spirit, right here on LifeClub. I'm Tashima Jones. Welcome to LifeClub. I genuinely believe personal development unlocks the door to the abundant and wonderful life we all already have. I also believe we must be intentional about seeking out that life in order to find and fulfill it. I am so grateful your journey of discovery has led you all the way here. Let's keep moving forward together. Once again, welcome to Life Club with me, Tashima Jones. Welcome. You are tuned in to Life Club with me, Tashima Jones. I'm super excited to have you here with me. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you were rocking with us, and for that, we are truly grateful. Today, I am super excited to be speaking about food. We are going to speak about food, healing, and our mind. I really like food. And at one point, it was a source of comfort. And although I consider myself a healthy eater, over time, I started to pay more attention to why I was eating versus what I was eating. Food is fuel. It directly impacts our physical bodies, our mood, and even our mind. Joining us today is Lydia Andrews, creator of Well Body Mind. Lydia's journey to the health and wellness industry was a natural progression. She's always been fascinated with how food affects the body, but most importantly, how our mind and thoughts directly affect how we eat. Lydia is a firm believer that food can heal the body. If you focus your minds on wellness and eat nourishing foods, you can begin to live your #best life. I added in that hashtag. Her purpose and goal is to empower, educate, and enlighten others to do exactly that. At the School Institute for Integrative Nutrition, Lydia was trained in more than 100 dietary theories, as well as a variety of lifestyle coaching methods. Always drawing from the unique nutrition philosophy she was taught, Lydia takes a holistic approach to wellness and encourages clients to consider everything from relationships, work, exercise, and spirituality as essentials to building good health. With Miss Lydia, you can create a specialized roadmap to health that suits your unique body, lifestyle, and goals. Without further ado, I'll welcome you, Miss Lydia Andrews. That totally rhymes. Welcome to Life Club. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me, and I'm excited to be here. I've been looking forward to this all week.
Awesome. So we're going to just jump right into the conversation now from the top of, our beginning point where we're speaking about food and its impact on our overall life. I am so big on definitions. Mm-hmm. And in your, knowledge, how do you define food?
How do I define food? Wow. Food is the thing, the substance that we need to fuel our bodies, mm-hmm. to contribute to allowing us to be the best version of ourselves, mm-hmm. mind, body, and soul. And just as simple as that. Mm-hmm. That food is the thing that we use in order to have not only a strong body, but a strong mind as well. Because I do strongly believe there's a connection between the two. But yeah, as simple as that. Mm-hmm. It's the fuel that we need to give us, to make sure that our bodies are the healthiest that they can be.
Definitely. And the reason why I ask is that when you break down this idea of food, for me, it has helped me to make certain choices with the food that I eat.
Yes.
As you mentioned, it is fuel for our bodies. It's nourishment for our bodies and even our spirits and our souls. So when I am, eating something, it's like, is this food? Or is this some just like pretty much garbage?
Right.
The whole idea of junk food. Yes. And it really helps me to put certain things down and to pick up certain things. So that's why, I wanted to ask that question and pose that question and plant that seed in our minds of the reality of what it is that we are putting into our bodies, because the purpose of food and the purpose of eating itself is to bring nourishment and strength to our bodies. Now, just speaking about what you do and what you do with your clients, what is that process like, and how do you make that connection between wellness physically and mentally?
Well, I'll start with, as a certified holistic health coach, what I do is I bring an integrative approach to both diet and lifestyle changes to help a client, live their healthiest life. So I work with people as a guide towards an overall healthy life, and I look at the client's nutrition patterns. I look at what their relationships are. I look at what their physical activity is and what their spirituality is. All of these things help me to, help a client create their healthiest lifestyle. So yes, food plays a big part of that, as it gives us nutrition, as it fuels our bodies, it gives us the energy that we need and so forth. But one of the things that I also stress when I'm talking to individuals is that it's not just about food. It really isn't. As you spoke about a few minutes ago, when you're eating that not so healthy food, I always tell people, well, what was your mood when you were consuming that unhealthy food? What was your mood? 9 out of 10 times they'll say, I was stressed out or I was so tired. I just needed something to give me that boost and so forth. So it is very important that I, educate my clients, but really work with them and find out like, okay, well, what's happening in your life overall? And once we talk about that, so I do that through a consultation at first. And then once we start putting the things together, the pieces together, I, show them different ways that can help them stay on track, but always focusing on what's happening in their life. Any life change can throw a monkey wrench into, your diet, how you're keeping yourself healthy. You start out, you're eating healthy, you're going to the gym, you're all hyped, you're like, hey, I got it together. And then maybe you have a death in the family, which is very emotionally intense. And even though each and every one of us may handle that differently, it will ultimately affect how you're eating.
Even if you stop eating.
Exactly. So it's really, that's my approach when I'm working with clients. You just kind of look at the whole thing, what's happening with them. And then from there, I'm able to put together, okay, this is going to be your plan. And again, it's individualized plans. What works for you is going to be different for for you and to the next person. So it's definitely, individualized and customized.
One thing that stands out that you mentioned was that it's not about the food. And I think we always go to that first. And I'm realizing that food is just the symptom, or it's just the behavior that's caused by something else.
Yes.
And another thing you mentioned was relationships. I never equated relationships to how I eat, or even like the physical activity that I'm involved in, whatever the case may be. But it totally impacts our life.
It does.
And that's so good, because literally I'm realizing like you might have bad, food and physical habits just by the circle that you choose to associate yourself with.
Exactly.
And you make it so that it's literally this a lifestyle that we're living. And oftentimes we look at lifestyle as, the material possessions that we have or traveling. but it's the music you listen to, it's the people you hang
Everything.
around with, it's what you're eating, it's the physical activity, it's literally the things that are so close to us
It
that
is.
shape and ultimately impact our overall quality of life. That is, who would have
Yes.
thought
Yes.
that I would have got revelation from food? Yes. So we spoke about, how we define food.
Yes.
And we spoke about the things that impact our eating habits and just our overall health. How would you say or explain, or do you see a cultural impact to how we live our lives, whether that includes food, physical activity, and even spiritually, just culture and society? Does that have an influence on how we choose to live our lives?
It definitely has an impact on how we choose to live. It that plays a part in it too. What was your model at home? What were the things that you did around the table? What were, all of that plays a part in that. We can all think of family members who, may be a little overweight or so forth, or even family members that are really thin, slender or so forth. To those family members that are slender, what do you always hear certain people saying about that? Girl, you need some meat and potatoes. You know what I mean? So, and that, I feel like that kind of thinking can be a cultural thing, So yes, that plays a huge part in it. So when you're educating people, or when I'm coaching someone, that comes into play too. If you come from a culture or a home life that does not know anything about vegetables, I can't just go to you and start talking about, well, you need to include kale into it. Some people are like, what's kale? Because that's something that you just absolutely did not have any idea about. So it's really about taking into account cultures. I'm blessed to be, Afro-Latina. So it's like, my family's from Panama and Barbados. Okay. So it's those two cultures. We don't need kale. Okay. There's, it's like, what is that? So yes, it is a thing of culture too, that you have to work with and sort of re-educate and tell individuals, even though you're not familiar with it, try it. You can incorporate that into your life as well. So that plays a huge part in just, educating people as well.
Definitely. And again, I'm so happy that you have just given us this foundation of our lifestyle and our life being a compilation of things, especially around this idea of health and wellness, because I think it gives people the ability to kind of shake up their paradigm. Yes. For example, I had kale, cucumbers, and all these other things for breakfast. And that is not normal in a lot of people's minds.
It's not.
Like, how do I eat fruits and vegetables for breakfast? Simply because of the culture and society that we live in.
Right.
Like, you're supposed to have waffles, and if anybody know me, they know I love me a waffle.
So do I.
So it's like, this is the cultural norm of how, breakfast is set up. However, all culture isn't always good for you.
It's not.
And people are really caught up in this cycle of what breakfast is, of what exercise is. Like yoga is exercise. Yes. Meditation is exercise. Meditation is good for your physical body.
Yes.
So you don't always have to be, you don't always have to sweat and like run on a treadmill for 30 minutes. Meditation has been one of the most life-changing things for my physical body I never thought that, because I've struggled again with exercise. I do not like to sweat.
I know that's the thing, but that's what you have to work with.
Yes.
It's you definitely are dealing with norms, quote unquote, what you've just always done. And it's about really educating and letting people know, no, that doesn't work for you, obviously, because you're having issues with your weight, or, you've gone to the doctor and the doctor's telling you have high cholesterol. So it's like, those are things that you have to work with when you're working with, individuals, when I'm working with individuals. And you're taking like the whole picture. and just kind of saying, oh, okay, this is the plan. Let's do, this is your action plan. Let's incorporate these things into your life and start from there.
Definitely.
You know, it's not about me saying to someone, okay, well, you need to work out like 5 days a week. What?
You have to get to that point where you even see working out as possible.
As an option.
Because oftentimes it's a struggle. The gym makes, I'm sure, I haven't proven this, but I'm sure they make millions of dollars off of members who do not go, but pay that membership every month.
Exactly.
And when you recognize that, you have to say, okay, this is a little bit more than just my weight or my eating.
Yes.
This is like something that I have to deal with mentally and spiritually in order to be able to do those physical things and make those physical shifts, you know? And speaking about just culture and society, our healthcare system is not necessarily for us.
It's not.
And when you look at other, you know, cultures and you look at other nations, those nations that care for the citizens of that nation, their healthcare, and they take on their healthcare plans, their food and what they provide that culture is so different. Because AKA, we're not trying to pay all these healthcare bills, so we're going to try to keep these people as healthy as possible.
Exactly.
So when you're in a society where like one of the number one profitable industries is healthcare, you have to understand that the goal in our everyday lives is not necessarily to keep you healthy.
Exactly. And as you know, and many people know, in this country, you know, prescription medication is big business. Along with that comes with, well, we're not going to offer stuff to get you healthy. They'll say it. They'll, you know, you'll see ads for it and so forth, but that's not
the intention.
That's
it's not the goal. Because if it was, we would go to the route upon which you choose.
Exactly.
With your clients, the food you're eating, the relationships you're having, the stress that you may be experiencing. All of those things are connected to your lifeline and your health.
Yes, it is.
You know, so I think that's something else that we, you know, have to recognize, that the things that will contribute to a better quality of life are oftentimes not so readily available to you. And you have to put yourself out there and you have to pursue and you have to seek what it is that's going to be beneficial to you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I want to get into the healing power of food because I am a firm believer that food can truly heal you. So what are the things that you've come across? Are there certain foods that you can speak to that really, you know, boost your immune system and boost even your mindset and how that, you know, correlates to our lifestyle?
Yeah. So, you know, this is a thing that I get asked all the time. You know, people will ask me, well, should I be eating this? Should I be eating that? And I always, you know, tell people basically, you know what to eat. You know exactly what to eat. I don't have to tell you. What you have to figure out and realize for yourself what works for you.
That truth. We just need to breathe on that.
Exactly.
You already know.
Wow.
You
know.
Good.
If it doesn't come in a natural wrapper, meaning, you know what I mean? If it comes in a plastic wrapper or a cardboard box and you got to heat it.
Or it can last for 5 to 10 years.
On a shelf.
On a shelf.
Then I don't think that that's something, you know, that's going to keep you healthy. So it's like we already know the things that we should be eating. I will say this, that not, you know, because sometimes when you start talking about specifically this food, that food, this food, these foods, people get overwhelmed. So what I like to do is just basically tell people, you know, listen, cut down on your sugar, watch your salt, no processed foods.
Okay. Now, I have a question about that. Is there, I guess, do those foods have, like, do they cause an addictive behavior? Like, what is the struggle with releasing those foods? Is it just because we're so used to having them? Do we have a taste for them? What have you found to be the challenge with eradicating those foods from our diet?
Yeah, and I'll focus on sugar. So there have been studies that have been done to show that sugar is almost like cocaine. It gives you the same kind of high that drug gives to you. And it is highly addictive. So it is hard to completely remove that from your diet. It is. It's very hard. Now, there are some people who will say, I'm not really a sweets person. So, and that's true. Some people don't have that sweet tooth.
Okay.
You know, I unfortunately have that sweet tooth. But I educate people in, okay, so instead of focusing on removing, taking out, because sometimes that could get you bummed out. Oh, wow.
I can't eat anything.
What, I'm supposed to eat air? Like, what's happening? You're taking everything. I focus on replacing. Have this instead. Eat this instead. Once you start replacing your diet with healthier foods, that sugar craving starts to go away. So, yes, sugar, highly addictive. Salt in your food, sodium. That is also something that is hidden in so many different things, but it's like that's something you really have to focus on.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just basically focusing on eliminating, just being really mindful when you are shopping for things, and it's like you really just, when you're in the supermarket. And that's a whole other topic. I could talk about that for days, how the supermarket is set up, how it's designed, how it markets foods to you, and so forth. You have to be strategic when you go shopping for food.
Definitely, I agree. And one of the fact that you even mentioned that, I always say, you won't eat it if you don't buy it.
Exactly.
So it starts there.
Exactly.
It starts when you are purchasing food.
Yes.
That's where your diet, that's where your lifestyle, your health really, really starts. So that was so important. And I maybe off air, I want to hear about how, this, marketing goes.
Yes.
Because I believe it's true. I know it's true, but go ahead.
Yeah. And, when I have friends come over my house, I always I don't apologize, but I'm just like, listen, I can offer you an apple, a banana, or something. I don't necessarily have like chips and cookies and stuff like that in the house. I may indulge a little bit sometimes when I'm outside, but I really, really do my best to not even have it at home because that's where it just becomes like, oh, well, it's here, so I'm going to eat it. Now, that becomes really challenging when you have a family, when you have children. It's very challenging. But again, it's about practicing better, making better choices. It's practice. So if you slowly introduce other things, your children will be like maybe resistant at first, but eventually they'll get used to it. And also with them, that craving for those sugary things will diminish. It'll take time, but it'll diminish. So
Definitely. Yes, this is like really a great conversation.
I love it. I love it.
Yes. One of the topics that is so powerful to me is our mind and the power that it holds to really shift and change our lifestyle. Could you speak to just that idea of the mind itself?
Definitely. I am a firm believer in the connection between mind and body. Our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, attitudes, all of these things can positively or negatively affect our biological functioning. So, and one of the things that I do focus on as well when I'm doing workshops, I actually do a whole workshop on it, on stress, stress management. Stress is a huge factor in your overall health. And it can contribute to a whole host of health conditions and ailments. And so it's just the connection between the two. For instance, and this is something that, again, everyone knows, but you don't really focus on it. So you are, in a relationship, you've broken up. You're, you're sad about it. You're angry about it. Those emotions can affect the way that you eat. Some people may not eat at all. You have no appetite for anything. That will affect your physical health. Or some people overeat. Now I'm eating everything, but I'm eating everything unhealthy because a lot of times we use food to comfort those emotions. So there's a definite connection between mind and body. Whatever your thoughts and feelings are, positive or negative, it is going to directly affect how how your body feels, how your body functions, and so forth. Again, back to stress. If you're in a really stressful situation, you notice that you get anxious. What happens when you get anxious? Your heart rate increases. You become sweaty. Your palms are sweaty, clammy, and so forth. Again, an emotional thing that's happening or mental thing that's happening affects you physically. So there's a huge connection between the two.
That mind-body connection is so vital, is so important. And I'm so glad that you gave a picture of how those things work together, because when we're in the situation, we don't understand it. And that's why I truly believe that, meditation, that self-care it's kind of like this, it's like you're prepping your body.
Yes.
Like, it's this proactive approach to healthy living and having a good overall quality of life, is understanding that mind-body connection, understanding that your thoughts, these invisible things that aren't, I guess, tangible to the natural body, impact your natural body and your life so powerfully.
It does.
And that is one of the things that I want to drive home, is understanding that your mind is so important and so vital to your quality of life. Understanding that not only changes how you eat, it changes your relationships, it changes your physical activity. It literally permeates throughout your entire existence. Understanding that reality, oh my goodness. We need to do another show.
Oh my gosh, I would love to come back.
We got to do another show. Please let everyone know where they can find you and stay connected.
Yes, so my website is wellbodymind.biz, and I'm on Instagram at The Health Chick. I'm on Twitter. My handle is wellbody_mind. And I'm also on Facebook as well. So, yes, I'm
Find her everywhere.
Yes, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yes. This has been Life Club with me, Tashima Jones. So grateful that you tuned in. You can find me at tashimajones.com. All of my social media and contact information can be found there. Until next time, remember your greatness. Talk soon. I am Tashima Jones, and you've been listening to Life Club. Thank you for tuning in.